広大なアフリカの情景を想像させるビート。トト不朽の名曲「アフリカ」。
I hear the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, "Hurry, boy, it's waiting there for you." Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. We're gonna take some time to do the things we never
It was fantastic to have another one single on the Billboard.
It's funny. It was
Top
a
100
number
charts.
one record when the Grammys
Was it?
at the voting period. So I mean that didn't hurt us at the time, you know. I mean to us it was like to read that we'd been nominated. It was like, what? Are you kidding me? Against McCartney and Stevie Wonder, it's like our heroes. Are you kidding me?
We were very lucky. You know, the stars were aligned just right.
I'm telling you.
Oh, I feel that Africa should be a part of everybody's favorites. I think it's an outstanding song and one of the really special moments in the album. And TOTO 4 is by far the most famous of the TOTO albums. And I think Africa and Rosanna too are the two most famous songs that TOTO has done. And I think the most requested when they're out on the road. It's a special song, and you know, like anything else.
このアルバムからはもう一曲大ヒット曲が生まれた。それがロザーナだった。トトのメンバーはセッションミュージシャンとしても大活躍していた。そのため70年代後半から80年代の音楽シーンにはトトサウンドがあふれていた。
Physical, I wanna get physical. Let's get into
超一流のミュージシャンが集まったバンドTOTO。彼らの最大のヒット曲「アフリカ」はどのように生まれたのだろうか。世界中で聴き継がれる名曲「アフリカ」。この曲の誕生を探るためロサンゼルスへ向かった。TOTOのオリジナルメンバー3人に話を聞いた。キーボードのデビッド・ペイチ、ギターのスティーブ・ルカサー、そしてキーボードのスティーブ・ポーカロ。
Dude, we've known each other for 40 years. We were in school together, you know? It went by fast, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
We started in the garages in the valley.
that's right.
My
Your parents'
folks' house.
garage. That's right.
Right down on Valley Heart.
Right close to here.
You know, it's weird. We've been doing this so long. It's full circle now. Here with the three of us are sitting together again.
In a garage in the valley.
In a garage in the valley, except now it's a recording studio.
TOTOのポーカロ兄弟の父親でレコーディングにも参加しているドラマーのジョー・ポーカロ。彼がTOTOメンバーの出会いのキーマンだった。
Glenn Campbell was a famous, pop singer, guitar player. He had a live TV show. And I got asked to, do one of the shows, because the main percussionist was busy, so I got the call to do it. And Marty Page, who is David Page's father of TOTO, he was the conductor, the music director on the Glenn Campbell show. When we used to rehearse that show, Marty Page would ask the regular piano player to let David sit in and play piano. And David always wanted to be a drummer also. So during intermission, we used to talk. And I told him I had a son who played drums, and he had a rock band he used to play in. And David wanted to meet him. And I introduced him to David Page. And they got talking, and at our house, at our home, our garage, we used to, Jeffrey and Steve used to have a lot of jam sessions, rock musicians come by and jam, But they had a group called Rural Still Life, RURAL, Rural Still Life. And they formed a band, that's what it was called. And David Page used to come and sit in and play with them.
I'd grown up, my father was my main influence, and he was a jazz pianist and became a jazz arranger and a pop arranger. So the first music I heard was jazz. It was Ella Fitzgerald, Mel Torme, Ray Charles, Lena Horne. So I at a very early age picked up the drums and wanted to be a jazz drummer. My idol was Shelly Manne. And then I wanted to be like Russ Freeman and Jimmy Rolls, be a jazz pianist. And then the Beatles came out, and that kind of changed everything. And I started hearing session players like Larry Knechtel, who played Bridge Over Troubled Waters, play. And it put the zap on my head. And just ever since then, I've been kind of playing more gospel-y and really liked piano, and loved it. And of course, Elton John came out and had glasses and short hair on and released me. You know what I mean? I said, that's what I want to do.
デビッド・ペイチはキーボードの腕を上げ、数々のセッションに参加するミュージシャンになった。一方、ドラムのジェフ・ポーカロはその腕を買われ、若くしてスティーリー・ダンの正式メンバーに採用された。そしてTOTOが結成された直接のきっかけとなったのはボズ・スキャッグスのこのアルバムだった。
how much you done spent. I swear she must believe it's all heaven sent. Hey boy, better bring the chick around.
キーボードのデビッド・ペイチ、ドラムのジェフ・ポーカロ、ベースのデビッド・ハンゲイトはこのアルバムのためのセッションで意気投合。次回作で一緒になったギターのスティーブ・ルカサーも率いれ、バンドTOTOを結成。1978年ファーストアルバムをリリース。このアルバムは全米9位となり、シングル「ホールド・ザ・ライン」もヒット。
We wanted to be more to the left of something, a little bit more progressive and a little more alternative at the time, which that word didn't exist then. But we were looking at bands like Yes and ELP and just all different kinds of bands, and we wanted to take whatever pop music, so-called, that we were making, but put a harder edge on it and make the arrangements a little more interesting, like I said, a little more progressive.
I mean, our music is really kind of, there's so many different influences, and everybody brings their thing to it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think collectively, like when, you know, we all work with other people, we don't sound like TOTO, but when we get together, put this group of people in a room, particularly the three of us who've been doing this a long time, the collective influences create this thing, which is rock and roll with an R&B undercurrent, with a
Exactly.
Progressive overtone, a little classical, a little, you know, harder edge bluesy rock. Depends on which chair you look at as to what bring, although it's not really spoken of, it just, that's what each guy brings the.
続くセカンドアルバムからもヒットシングルが生まれた。TOTO初期の頃から共に活動しているパーカッショニストのレニー・カストロに話を聞いた。
And I was having a great time playing with Jeff and playing with Lukather and David Hungate and David Page and the whole guys and being a part of the scene. We played all kinds of music. You know, their music really went from one situation to another, from kind of like a New Orleans type of thing to rock to a little bit of Latin to a little bit of this, some jazz. Because they could, because we could, because we were that good, you know, and we were damn proud of it. And we played because we could do that stuff.
メンバーはTOTOとして活動する一方、セッションミュージシャンとしても数々の演奏をこなしていた。AOR を代表するエアプレイのこのアルバムにもTOTOの面々が参加している。1981年にはサードアルバムをリリース。ハードロック寄りのアレンジを意識したアルバムで新たなファン層を増やすこととなった。
We always served the songs, whether we were doing sessions for someone else or our own, but this time it was our songs. And that made a huge difference.
What the great thing about TOTO is the collaboration process. Is that I can come in with a song or even bits of a song, as anyone can. And when Jeff Porcaro and Steve and Luke and the band all sat down and played, everybody kind of arranged their own parts, and the sound you hear is TOTO's music. You know, that's what makes us unique, you know. Somebody may have a suggestion for a keyboard part here, or we may have some different forms that we're using, but in general, it's the band that's the real fun and interesting and creative part, is how these songs evolve and keep, changing.
I know as a songwriter, I was always blown away by what the guys would bring to the table. The guitar parts Steve would come up with. It always felt like he'd been playing them for 3 years when and that was the first afternoon he ever heard the song, you know.
I just connect to what I hear, and these guys write inspiring stuff, and we all bring that to each other's music. I mean, the sounds and parts that these guys come up with on some of my stuff, I'd be like, I never would have thought to do that. And it makes you smile when you sit back, some of the arrangements, and when you write a song in your house on a guitar or keyboard or something like that, and at the end you're sitting at the mixing session listening to this production and this mix, and you're going, this little germ of an idea turned into this thing. That is the greatest feeling of accomplishment and the greatest rush that there is, knowing that everybody brought their best, that everybody's sitting wanting to make sure that each of our songs and each of our performances are, inspired and come on, man, you could,
才能のあるミュージシャンが集まったバンド、TOTO。しかし、続くアルバムの制作には9ヶ月もかかった。
It was our year. We had no idea, man. Ironically, like the record company was like, if you guys don't have a hit record, we're dropping you. So we came with TOTO 4, and that was our answer to that.
Yeah, that was our motivation.
背水の陣で臨んだアルバム制作。そして最大のヒット曲が生まれる。TOTOは4枚目のアルバムの制作準備に入った。その時生まれたのがアフリカだった。デビッド・ペイチがテレビを見ていた時に思いついたアイデアがきっかけだったという。
I think when I saw some UNICEF commercials when I was very young, it inspired me to want to visit Africa, and then later on I just kind of romanticized a story about it, and then we were able to actually visit there and play this in South Africa, and so it was kind of a dream come true.
I mean, people write songs about the Yellow Brick Road and all this stuff, and you're never there. I mean, it was really just, based upon fantasy as opposed to fact. I mean, who else could write a lyric that has Serengeti in it?
And make it rhyme.
He's got to get some credit for that. You know what I mean?
そして共にこの曲を書き上げたのがジェフ・ポーカロだった。
Jeff had a way of propelling me, of inspiring me and pushing me to do lyrics. He actually was where we'd write down lines, and not necessarily the lines that were in the song, but they would make me come up with other lines, especially like a line like "This Thing That I've Become." I think that was a Jeff Porcaro line, and so I ended up changing a lot of lyrics, but Jeff was very much a part of that song in all aspects, in the songwriting process, which is different for everybody.
Well, I thought it was really interesting harmonically, and I think David, you got the CS80 or you got some new keyboard or something like that.
GS1 did the sound.
And that just sort of inspires. Sometimes you get a new instrument, it inspires a song, a sound goes, wow, look at this, and he just lay down.
Definitely.
I remember hearing the very initial germ of the idea with the song. Dun, 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 dun. I thought, what a cool riff, As it progressed, as everything, as the song morphed into being what you now hear as the classic record, Africa, I mean, that it took a long time to evolve.
I agree.
TOTO の4枚目のアルバムでレコーディングエンジニアを務めたのは数々のグラミーを受賞している重鎮アル・シュミット。その彼に話を聞いた。
I was doing a lot of albums, and the drummer I did like 12 albums in a row, and the drummer on all of those albums was Jeff Porcaro, the drummer with TOTO. And when they came time to record TOTO 4, they had another engineer in mind to do it. And they had some sort of difficulty with making a deal with him, and at the last minute, he backed out. And Jeff said, hey, I've been working with Al a lot, and he's great. Why don't we use him on it and try him? So they asked me if I would do it, and we worked out a deal, and yeah, I was happy to do it. I knew all the guys in the band, you know, very well, and so it was kind of a joy to get to be in the studio with them.
レコーディングはハリウッドにあるサンセットサウンドスタジオで行われた。アフリカのレコーディングは他の曲とは異なる特別な方法が取られたという。その方法を提案したのはドラムのジェフ。彼がこの曲完成への突破口を開いた。
So me and Jeff, we played that rhythm. We took a 24-track machine and we recorded that drum beat, him and I playing it together, and we filled up that entire 24-track. We just played. We played it until the tape was full. I don't know how long that was, maybe half an hour or so. I don't know, whatever. We just got zen, you know. We got into it, and we got into the groove, and we got into it. We stayed there. We finished it.
Then we came in and we listened down to it all, and we picked one bar that he liked, and we edited that one bar and made a loop. We taped it together and made a loop so that one bar played over and over and over. And that is the basis of Africa. That was the thing that it raised everybody else's level of what they were doing on it. Everyone became aware of that time. It's very unusual. A lot of that wasn't done back then. It's done quite often now, but back then it was very rare. We had to take the tape and edit the one bar, put it together and tape it together. And then we had a music stand out here. So the tape came from the tape machine around the music stand and back into, so it just kept going around in a circle.
そのリズムはアフリカのイントロで聞くことができる。
Yeah, it was the loop was made with Lenny and Jeff, and then you and Jeff, you went out on the CS80
yeah.
and played. You and Jeff did, and Jeff came in on the choruses.
Right.
Played that, and
Yeah.
and that was a whole piece. And then you overdubbed the piano,
Right.
and then I think Hungate overdubbed the
Did the
bass,
bass.
and then I started overdubbing a bunch of guitars up to a certain point.
Yeah.
Acoustic guitars, electric guitars. Then it was like Steve got a hold of it, and then Dave got, and then it was like it all. It wasn't like we all sat in a room and played that, and that's what you hear. It was very much a produced record.
ポーカロ兄弟の父親のジョー・ポーカロもレコーディングに参加。ベースマリンバを叩いた。
I'm just imitating like Steve Porcaro, you know, they all did, you know, there's a lot of other marimba on the track, but that's electronic marimba, Steve P, you know. But yeah, they just said, okay, we want the bass marimba right here, you know. And they would, you know, they wrote out the line. It's a simple line, dun, 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 right? And then the gong after, you know.
このようにさまざまな音を重ね、アフリカは生まれた。
the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, "Hurry, boy, it's waiting there for you." It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. It's gonna take some time to do the things we never had.
トトが1982年にリリースしたアルバム「TOTO4」。このアルバムから最初にシングルカットされたのは「ロザーナ」だった。
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes. Rosanna, Rosanna. Never thought that a girl like you could ever care for me. Rosanna. All I wanna do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight. Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know you were looking for more than I could ever be.
You know, it was one of those things. I really think that Rosanna's a really great example of the overview of what our band is. You had the multiple singers, you had the guitar solo, the synth solo, the R&B and rock thing with, the horns, and it was rocking, but it still had a funk thing to it, and Jeff's unbelievable drum thing. That, when Dave brought in the song to the studio, it was just, we didn't rehearse, we never rehearsed stuff. It's like, who's got a song today? Dave would go, what do you got, Dave? And he'd sat down at the piano, and Jeff started playing that groove, and everybody jumped on it, and by the second take, the rhythm section, what you hear on the record is what it was.
It really demonstrates the magic and creativity of drummer Jeff Porcaro. Because when I first heard the song in my head and brought it to Jeff, I wanted a Bo Diddley beat for it, which is doom, 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 doom. And Jeff just looked at me and said, "Well, put that thought away for a second. Try this one," and played the intro, what is now the intro to Rosanna, which is that's such a signature hit intro riff.
First time I heard Rosanna, well, first of all, before I heard the lyrics, we put down the track, and the track was just burning. It really meshed, and everything fit together well. Then when I heard the lyrics, I was trying to figure out which Rosanna they were talking about.
Oh, you mean my girlfriend, Rosanna Arquette, according to Wikipedia?
Hey, it's just the title.
That's not true, by the way. It was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Wrong Steve.
We were all enamored with her. We all
Yes.
met her around the same time. I think we all fell in love with her around the same time. And in some
girl.
way, she was a real fun presence and a real supportive and loved music. And, Dave started writing this tune. And, it just worked out the way it
Meet you all the way. Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah. Meet you all the way. Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah. Down in Africa.
そして3枚目のシングルとして出されたのが「アフリカ」だった。
I thought it was an interesting piece. I never thought it was going to be a #1 single, but then again, it proves to you what do I know? I said the same thing about Beat It. I said the same thing about a lot of records that were like #1 that I had involvement in. I'm never the guy to ask about this. I thought it was a great tune in the end. So
I think the president of the company called me and said, "Your song's a big hit. It's in the dance clubs." And I said, "Well, which song is that?" You know? And he said, "Africa." I said, "Well, that can't be. Are you sure?" I said, "It's got to be another song." And he says, "No, they're playing this because it comes out with this beat." And apparently it started that way. So I was just speechless, you know. It's like.
When I heard it all together after, they have a hit record here. Just musically, and it was, kind of refreshing, kind of different what was coming out of music, rock bands at the time. I think it was the music kind of draws more of a audience, of all genres, of all, young people, older people.
I think the lyrics, the emotion of the song, Africa was a hit immediately. I mean, as soon as we heard it. I think the only reason that Rosanna came out first was that they thought that would be a little more commercial. But I think in general, if you ask people what their favorite song is on that album, it's going to be Africa. Most people will say Africa. It's just, emotionally, it was right on the money. So, yeah, it's very special, very special.
アルバム「TOTO4」はその年のグラミーで最優秀アルバムに選ばれた。TOTOは音楽シーンに欠かせないバンドとなった。4枚目のアルバムで頂点を極めたTOTOだったが、その直後にメンバーが変わった。新しいボーカルにファギー・フレデリクセン、そしてベースにポーカロ兄弟のマイクを迎え、5枚目のアルバムをリリース。続くアルバムでは再びボーカルが変わり、映画音楽の巨匠ジョン・ウィリアムスの息子ジョゼフ・ウィリアムスが加入した。
Joseph Williams, he sang, big records for us, and obviously Bobby did as well. But there was no one guy. We had four. He sang on the first few records.
First and fourth,
we always patted ourselves off our heroes, the Beatles, that had everybody sang.
Yeah, even Ringo sang.
Yeah, man. It just, we thought it was an interesting way to do it. If somebody you write your song, you want to sing your song, and that sort of is how it goes. I mean, some of Dave's songs we'd try, various guys, like he'd try it and go, it's not really for me, or somebody else, Joe, would try it, or I'd try it, and maybe that's how it ended up. But we weren't like a band that has like one lead singer out front and then we're all behind it. We all kind of get our moment in the spotlight, so to speak.
メンバーを変えながらも活動を続けたTOTOだったが、1992年、主要メンバードラムのジェフ・ポーカロが急死。TOTOはジェフへの哀悼を込め 活動を続けた。
Hear the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in from
今度はベースのマイク・ポーカロが難病 ALS を患い活動を休止せざるを得なくなった。メンバーはマイク救済のためのツアーも行っている。
I saw these guys when they were young, 16, 15, 16 years old. Steve Lukather used to come by, and saw them grow up and become, incredible musicians. And I was very proud to be part of that, because they used to come over to our house, rehearse in the garage. They come and eat, and it was like a family, I mean, it was real loose, a lot of love, a lot of friendship. Yeah, it was a great feeling. I miss it.
友であり家族のようでもあるバンドTOTO。彼らが音楽シーンに与えた影響は大きい。
They're all just incredible musicians and geniuses in their own right, and collectively forget about it, That's the product of when you get guys like that together. You get cutting edge situations that are way ahead of their time. You can't argue with that. It's greatness.
I love the album, and there were 5 great singles that came off that album, but I think Africa was my favorite.
We thought we'd had the whole album. I mean, if I listen to the rest of the cuts, I go, boy, we really have it
Right.
covered with the rock singles and all this.
Right.
And, well, here's an extra little oddball song
Right.
that we'll just throw on. The guys were kind of
We went crazy with the
patronizing
production
me,
on that,
you know.
with loops and all these things. We were doing a lot of things
We were
before
trying on it.
before anybody had world music. What is that? There was no title for it.
Yeah.
We just kind of went for it, brought in all the real ethnic instruments, your dad and Uncle Emil Richards, and we all did acoustic weird things, and we tried lots of bizarre production stuff. And it was a really great feeling for us to prove that it wasn't just a fluke, that we had, our first album had a couple hits on it and stuff like that,
それぞれの個性と才能が作り上げた結晶。壮大なエモーションをアフリカンビートに乗せて。TOTO、アフリカ。
I hear the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. We're gonna take some time to do the things we never had. dogs cry out in the night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become.